So hi guys, I'm Zeta here. This is my first video for the channel. Playthrough of D-Day at Omaha Beach, the Vassal version. As this is my first video ever, I'm still trying to figure out the ropes of this whole video production process. So please bear with me. I have a whole slew of videos planned for the year or even beyond, for this channel and possibly other channels to develop. And I'd just like to use this game as a sort of stepping stone into all of that. If you've managed to stumble into this video, well, welcome, and I hope you enjoy my playthrough of D-Day at Omaha Beach. Now, for those who don't know what this game is about, it is, and I quote from the manual, a solitaire game simulating the 12 hours on June 6, 1944, when U.S. amphibious forces assaulted a stretch of sand held by German forces on the Calvados coast of France, a shore that would forever be known by its code name, Omaha Beach. Of the five beaches assaulted by the Allies on D-Day, Omaha was the bloodiest and hardest one. For several hours on that day, the fate of the invasion hung in the balance. Ultimately, despite the failure of the Allied invasion plan, the heroism and initiative of the US soldiers prevailed and a viable beachhead was established. In D-Day at Omaha Beach, you control the US forces assaulting the beach, struggling to gain a foothold on the French soil against unexpectedly strong German resistance. The game system controls the German forces that oppose you. So that's the setting of the game we'll be playing. It's a solitaire board game designed by the famous John Butterfield. It is quite famous actually in board gaming circles. Personally, I'm still new to the whole aspect of gaming, and stumbling upon this game was one of the reasons why I got into tabletop games in the first place. But as you may see from the screen, we are not playing the actual version of D-Day at Omaha Beach. We're playing the Vassal version. I don't actually have a copy of the game, but I do have every intention to get one since it's that good. From what I see upon searching around, this is not an easy game to find, especially where I'm from. These sorts of games aren't exactly accessible, or even popular for that matter. In any case, we'll play through this game, on the fly mostly. As a disclaimer, I played this game a number of times. I counted around 8 times already. I only finished quote unquote this game one time, but looking back on that playthrough, there were a number of rules I did not implement properly. For those who are not familiar, this game is a rule heavy game. If you're into playing these types of games, you know what I mean. But if you're coming from, say, a video gaming background, let's just say instead of the computer implementing the rules of your video game, you have to implement the rules yourself. That's what you do for these tabletop games. I mean, I guess that description is horrible if you're from a gaming background because it means if the rule set isn't great or if you're not good at implementing these rules, then you can ruin your whole experience in playing that game. But I guess, that's the beauty of this specific game, The Day at Omaha Beach. The game is designed very, very well. And playing it will really get you immersed into this whole experience of invading France during World War II. As an additional role, note if you guys have played any of those Call of Duty or Medal of Honor games, if you're coming from a action shooter background, those games are famous nowadays. Well, I would say this game, The Day at Omaha Beach, is a way better experience than any of those. At least any of those that I've played. And that's the highest compliment I can give this game. In any case, coming back to what I was saying earlier, I have played this game a number of times already. I finished it once, albeit, realizing afterwards that I implemented a lot of rules wrong. So really, that playthrough does not count to my liking. This game will kill you. This is how difficult this game is. As in, beating the game would need a lot of luck as well as correct strategy There's just so much random stuff happening in this game that you gotta have a lot of luck as well as right strategy when it comes to the certain scenarios that you end up having. All of that, of course, is bound within the many rules that this game has. So maybe the best way to demonstrate is to actually begin playing this game. What I'll do is, I guess I'll play through it without much discussion on the rules or what rules I'm implementing. I just want to give you guys a feel of what this game is about. Experience it as you would experience it if you were playing it in the correct way. Every now and then, I'll probably refer to the manual, uh, or maybe what I remember is found in the manual. I have actually on the side here the reference panel downloaded from Board Game Geek, as well as the complete rule set booklet also downloaded from Board Game Geek. That's all you need really, those two references. In addition to the Vassal software and the D-Day Omaha Beach file that we have right here that's open. You can also find these online if you would so choose. So I'll be referring to these references every now and then. Hopefully that should get us through our first playthrough of this game. So with that, let's begin. Um, this is the Vassal engine, which is a software version of that may run different sorts of tabletop games. We'll click next, starting a new game offline. Now, what I like about this is you got two different boards. This is the original board, the board that actually came with the physical copy of the Day at Omaha Beach. But I do like their alternate board. So this Vassal software is actually developed by the users. It's not officially published by Decision Games, the publisher of this board game, or John Butterfield. So it's actually a community developed software. So with that in mind, I think we just pick this alternate board and run it. So let's see how it loads. My goal is to actually attempt to play through the whole thing. I've done it once, I've said before, but I think doing it on camera is way cooler than just doing it on the side and not even doing it well. So let's see where this goes. So what you click here is the first waves or the D-Day at Omaha Beach complete experience. Okay, so what essentially that does is actually put the units on the map where they're supposed to. So for this Vassal engine version, we don't actually need to look at this top part. We'll be just taking a look at this bottom part. This is where, for the first half of the game, all the action will take place. So, just a brief explanation. This game has two parts. The first part is you would be landing forces on the beach, trying to get a beachhead pushing through the forces of German embedded machine gun nests. That's the first part that will take actually a lot of hours just to get out of this beach, this white sanded area. You can see here. You can just try to. The first part of the game just asks us to cross this beach, which in itself can already kill us. So we'll be doing that first. There are two different. When it comes to the second part, we'll be pushing inland, trying to get more beachheads, trying to control these roads, etc. But we're not gonna think about that first. We'll tackle that in case we actually get through the beach in the first place. So here's hoping we get to have a good run through. I'd probably stick this whole. This will definitely be a multi-part video if it takes that long, because this will take probably 6 hours if we're lucky. So what's gonna happen is we'll probably record this video for an hour and then we'll cut. Once we feel comfortable, then we should cut. So let's start playing this game. Uh, First things first. You can see here there are different lots of markers here. I won't explain these. You can probably notice I'll be using some of these buttons without explaining them too much, but I hope that's alright. What we want here is the experience of actually experiencing the little. Beach. You can see here at the bottom the landing box, the beach landing boxes, essentially where the units will come in and start their turn in order to find out where they're going to land on the beach. So there's an amount of randomness when it comes to landing on the beach. There's actually a diagram here on the right. I'm not going to show it anymore, but there's a diagram that tells me, it's called the amphibious landing table. It tells me where these units will be landing. So right now, I'll just be landing them and playing the game as we go. There are actually two sections of the map. You have the left side of the map, termed the I think this is the east section of the map, east sector. You can see here, and then you have the west sector here on the right. So as you may know from, if you take a look at the map, Omaha Beach was invaded from the north going south. So we have east on the left and west on the right. The units that took the east sector, or the U.S. 1st Division Infantry, you can see it in here, as well as the 29th Division Infantry, which took the east section, the west section of the map. I mean. So we'll just go through it. That's just a basic briefing. These, gray-looking units are the ones that will be defending the beach. They're the German units, and the game will control them quite well. The AI, as I may have mentioned earlier, is very, very good in this game. And I would say yes, these German units are pretty strong. So let's get on with it. I'll be clicking this button, which gives us an idea of what's happening on our turn. So this is the first phase of the turn, the US Amphibious Operations phase, which means we'll just be landing the units. It says here, conduct a landing check. US Amphibious Operations phase, conduct a landing check. So we'll check the card table. I'll zoom in right here so you can see a little bit. This is a typical card for this game. They're already pre-shuffled as well as randomized using the computer. So we don't have to think about shuffling or anything like that. It is far convenient to use Vassal, to tell you the truth. So it gives us more opportunity to play games faster. Anyway, I'll put this to the side, but these cards will give us an idea of what's going to happen in each phase of the game. I'll just put this aside, and I won't bother you guys with the details of this. I'll probably show it to you every now and then, but I won't give you too much detail on it. Actually, let's take a look at it now. So the landing phase, as you can see here, the right part is the east sector landing check card. We'll be implementing the landing instructions as indicated by the top part of the card. So for every diamond, you have the landing result of A, the triangles have landing result of A, and the circles have landing result of C. So let's see. For this first tank unit, this is a tank unit. We have landing result A, which delays it by 2 turns. So this simulates that the weather was pretty rough, that it ended up delaying the unit instead. So this unit is placed in turn 2. So since we're in turn 1, it will be placed in the next turn. So it's delayed by 1 turn. So for the triangle, it's also delayed by 1 turn in turn 2 space. Similar results. Turns delayed. For the circle, we have item C, which means we lose 1 step. So essentially, we lose 1 life from this unit, indicated by the black dots on the left. So if we step down this unit, it will have only 1 life instead of 2. For the next item, it's also delayed by 1 turn. Turn is delayed 1. So that's pretty nice. For the next phase, for the west sector landing card, they have a different landing result, different conditions on the west sector of the beach. So for the diamonds, you have the B, which unfortunately eliminates our unit. So this is eliminated. And then for the circle, you have C, which loses 1 step down. And then for the triangle, we have result 8, which delays the unit by 1 turn. And then you have result C for this tank, which makes us lose 1 step. and put this to the side. Close it again. We'll bring it up later. So now that we know what the results of our beach landing are, they will now land as expected, and they land on the beach. So as you can see, we're in the beach already. These tanks are already on the beach, and they are now be able to be fired upon by the nests. And the elegant nature of this development of this map is that you can see all these colors. The colors indicate the firing range of your machine gun nests, your German machine gun nests. So you would see in this tile, for example, you have machine gun nests from the blue and green sector to be able to be attacking this tank. So these tanks are actually quite in danger. However, there are different levels of danger that they are in. There's intense danger where any single attack will destroy them. We have some steady danger, steady fire, which infantry is more vulnerable compared to tanks. And you have sporadic fire, these hollowed out circles, which have least impact when it comes to being hit. So we'll figure out later how our units get hit. So the units have landed. The next phase is your new units approach. This is automatically set by Vassal. Where do these units come from, you might ask? Well, they actually come from this turn tracker. So we're in the first turn. All the units in the first turn, after the first set of units have landed, all the units in the first turn will be placed in their appropriate beach landing boxes. So we won't really delve into why they were placed here because they have labels, but we won't even look at that because the Vassal engine does that for us. Anyway, we're still in turn one. The units have approached the beach landing boxes, and the landing checks for them will happen in turn two. So the German fire phase. So as mentioned by many who have played this game, this is the favorite part of any turn when it comes to D-Day at Omaha Beach because this is where every unit that you have just dies. But we won't get ahead of ourselves. So automatically, Vassal has drawn cards for us on the East Sector German Fire card. So let's take a look at that. Where do we actually look? We actually look at this bottom part of the card. This is the German Fire part of the card. So we have the landing part on the top and the German Fire card on the bottom. So this tells us what color fires and what symbol it is firing at. That means what unit with the symbol is it firing at. So let's do it from left to right. You have the yellow machine gun nests, which require only one tile. One. What's the term for this? One pip or one stack of tiles of German units. So you got two, which means this is a valid attack. However, there are no units in the yellow firing range. You can see in these color ranges. So one thing happens. You have the red zone, which will be attacking the diamond symbol. So there are no diamond symbols in this range of fire, so they'll be alright. Then you got the green zones, which will also fire. Let's take a look at it. Okay, these are well, the symbol doesn't match the card, so it's a diamond, it's a circle. Therefore, these German units will not be able to damage our already damaged tank. So we move on to the west sector, see if any damage has been done. So similarly, you have diamond color, diamond shape, which is not any of these two units. Therefore, our units will remain safe. We will remain safe for this turn. Essentially, our tanks are saved. The initial tanks, anyway. So next, we proceed to the next phase, which is the U.S. action phase. This is where we start doing actions. Now, there are a number of actions that we can do right now. Typically, you have infantry units start moving up towards the shingle line here, which is this sort of grayed out, dotted yellow hex site over here. So we can actually do, if we had infantry, we would be start running towards that line because that's the safest part of the beach. These are pretty bad places to be in. As from our experience in playing this game, the tanks actually are pretty resilient when it comes to staying on the beach. If you put them here in the middle part where there's the most intense amount of fire, that's when they start losing lives. However, if you keep them at the back, or at the lowest part of the beach, farthest from the shingle line, they'd survive pretty well. However, as we may know later, during turn 7, that the tide starts rising, and then any units caught in the tide, the low tide area, will be out of commission. So we don't want that, but at the same time we also want to conserve our tanks and move them up in the during the most opportune times when there's least risk for them to be hurt. So actually for this game, it's actually sort of risk management. You have units on the beach, and you know where there's the most intense fire from the German entrenched units. We want to avoid these places as much as possible, or whenever we do cross them, we're sure that there's the least chance it will be fired upon. So I'll probably show some tricks that I've figured out since I played this game already a lot, 8 times. That's a lot. I know a few tricks to kind of get us by this first part of the game. However, I would say I still lost in the last 7 as compared to. So I still have not properly accomplished this game. So in any case, we got 2 actions available for us. We can start moving. These units, just a side note, we actually have 2 action points, you'd say, for each sector. So there are 2 units that we can start moving. There are 2 actions that we can take for our units in the west sector, and 2 actions to take for units in the west sector. So we have 2 in the east, 2 in the west. So what's going to happen here is there are 2 possibilities for these tanks. Number one, we can start moving the tanks up the beach, but that's a risky move, I should say, because the minute you start moving in the middle of this beach and they get the proper color of of a machine gun nest fire, they automatically be damaged. So we actually have already two points here. We got pretty roughed up tanks already, so that's already a bad sign. Uh, Personally, I wouldn't want to try and conserve this. The alternative to moving the tanks is actually to barrage the units. So these tanks have the capability to barrage any machine gun position. There's of course a sort of random roll to it. In order to successfully barrage a entrenched position, you would need to you need to conduct a special draw of a card. One of the cards that we'll be drawing here. Sorry, we'll be doing additional card draws for a barrage check, as you can see here, and depending on and we'd be able to successfully damage a unit, German unit. Well, actually not damage, but disrupt the operation of a German unit. Um, if we got the proper combination of a position, color, and barraging unit symbol on our special draw of the card. But this also depends on how strong the tank that we have is. So we have a 2 strength tank unit here. According to our US barrage table here from our reference panel, the only way that we can actually barrage using this unit properly is if we attack a 1 strength, or we'd say a 1 tile German unit. If we attack a 1 tile German unit, that means it doesn't have a German deft tile, that would mean we would just need the German barraging position color in order to disrupt the unit. Otherwise, the barrage has no effect. So there's only two options: either we move this guy or we just barrage and hope for the best when it comes to landing that barrage hit. But besides that, there's actually another option. Uh, I mean, let me correct that. There's actually a lot of restrictions when it comes to doing barrages, but for this first turn, um, in general, tanks can barrage any German unit that has a range that they are in range to be fired upon. So as you can see here, this blue German nest has firing range reaching up to this unit. So if this guy can attack our unit, then our unit can also attack them. But similarly, this means we are not allowed to barrage this unit farther from here because there's no purple range indicator that's being pushed on this hex. So that means you actually have three options for firing um, our barrage. We have the green, the blue, and the red. So that's one condition, but also another condition is it has to be within the range of our unit. So you can see here the value that our tank has. It has an attack strength of 2 and a range of attack of 5 tiles or 5 hexes away. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we can actually barrage this German position right here, as well as barraging these positions right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And for me, I think the best thing to do for this sector is actually to barrage. I would say uh, barraging this blue German nest. Because as you would see, well, it has the potential to have the most impact. Because if you take this out, then all the blue in this area will be completely negated, at least for the time being. If you fire upon these two position hexes with German units, you're only disabling one part of that German nest. If ever the green fire card appears, the green position color on the fire card appears, they may still be able to fire given certain conditions. But for me, I think the best to do is to barrage this blue unit. So let's conduct a barrage action. So we do an additional card draw. We will be able to disrupt this unit if we have at least the German position color of blue. So if we don't have the blue German position, but we have the circle German barraging unit symbol, we actually do not disrupt the unit because of the fact that it has limited attack strength. So in any case, so fortunately we actually have two. We actually have both of them, the blue and the circle unit, the circle symbol. So that means our circle symbol tank managed to hit the blue German unit list, and that would actually automatically garner us a disruption of this German unit. So what this disruption means is it is not able to attack any if the German blue symbol appears in the next fire phase, and it will not be able to attack. It will just undisrupt itself. So we'll see how that works later on. So with that in mind, let's proceed. We actually have taken one the additional action. So let's take an action here. This is only one unit here. We have nothing else for you. So the limitation is a unit can only do one action per turn. Of course, yeah, actually that's true. One action per turn, and there's certain rules for free actions, but we'll see where that happens later. So for the west sector, we also conduct two actions. Now for this one, I think I'd much rather actually move the tank. As you can see here, You have a pretty good defensible position here. This hex side actually corresponds to I think an anti-tank wall. It's a wall high enough that if you're there, you're actually pretty protected. So we got two options here. We can start moving our tanks to this tile and to this hex, and then hopefully not get hit. We move up here. It actually saves quite a lot. So I think for this turn, I would actually move both these tanks. Because at this point, we still don't know where the units will be landing, so we don't know where the best disruption will be. So let's just move them anyway. So we move them here, in the connection, and then we also try to move this guy. This guy here, because it's equivalent range. There's a less risk moving it there, so that's my move. Let's see how that works out. So with that in mind, we complete our action, and then the turn ends. So that's basically how it goes. But as we go along in the game, that's basically how the turn goes. But as we go along the game, more the rules that we'll be saying pop out more. So every now and then, especially if there's a rule that I don't know much about, I'll probably take a look at the manual, maybe pause the video or something in order to figure out my best course of action. But let's see. Okay, so we're in turn 2. As you can see here, interestingly, to get more immersed in it, it's actually 6:30 a.m. So at 6:30 a.m., you would say that the tanks have landed and they've done some barrages, moved around a bit, but so far, things still look pretty bad. The German units are still up there waiting for us to come to them. So what's gonna happen at 6:30? We'll find out. So landing checks occur. As you can see, Vassal actually takes away all the discards all the cards that were in the deck in on the table in the previous turn, and then draws a new set. So we take a look at our units on the left. So taking a look at it, we have an infantry unit with a diamond symbol, which means it has a landing result of B. What this means is, let's see, let me just move this a bit. What this means is B. It means it will drift 2 boxes east, I mean. So that means it will be moving 1, 2 to the left. So these are actually beach locations where it will start to land. So it drifts 2 boxes each, signifying that there's some kind of large waves going on. That it's unable to land where it's supposed to. So for the tank unit, it has a landing result of A, which means it has no effect. It stays where it is. Then you got the circle infantry unit, which has a landing result of C, which makes it drift 9 boxes east. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, and it disappears off the map. What this means is that I have to verify, but what this means is it will delay us. It will delay the unit by 1 turn. Let me quickly verify it via checking the manual. Landing checks. From the rules, a unit that drifts beyond the easternmost or westernmost beach landing box on the map is delayed, placed on the turn track 2 turns after the current turn. So that signifies that it was so off course that it had to go back, double back, and come back into the fight. So we'll be delaying this by 2 turns. So actually, we can kind of see from this outline that it was delayed to the 4th. You can see it highlighted in red over here that it was delayed to the 4th turn. So from the 2nd turn, it got delayed to the 4th turn. Okay, so pretty clear with that. For the for the circle unit, you got C, which means it will lose 1 step. So step down. Then you got the triangle unit, which gives us a result of A. It drifts 4 boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4. So as you can see, it has overlapped with this other unit. That is allowed. Tiles can stack. Units can stack upon each other. A maximum of 2. However, there are disadvantages to this because if there are five five levels of units or five units worth of 5 points worth of units in a single tile, it will become a concentrated target, meaning Germans will see it more and use it as a target that they can hit. And it's easier for them to hit it because there's so many units in that single hex. So we'll see how that will play out later, especially when it lands over here. Moving forward with our landing check, we got a diamond for our next infantry unit, which is result B, drifts 2 boxes east. 1, 2. So there you go. It actually solves our unit for landing check for the east sector. So moving to the west sector, we have a landing check for this tank as a B. That would imply it will drift 1 box east. So okay, that's alright, still within the boundaries. For the infantry unit, you have a C, which is drift 9 boxes east. So let's put this aside first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So what this does actually is it because the unit has drifted so far to the east side of the beach that it actually transfers division. So Vassal has implemented in the base game this actually doesn't happen, but Vassal has implemented a pretty good transfer division signal. This automatically implies that this unit is now part of the US First Division officially. So from this point forward, these units will be taking up actions in the US First Actions, First Division's action slot. So this is actually from now on, this is considered the US First Action Division, First Division infantry unit. You can tell here that this sort of craziness happened during World War II, especially when they landed on these beaches. Everything was just in chaos. That their planned landings didn't happen. All the units that landed just got destroyed. So that sort of thing was happening during that time. And we're taking a look at it here. Anyway, so for this unit, infantry unit has a landing result of B, which makes it drift 2 boxes east. 1, 2. Okay. Then you have a tank unit that's A. It means no effect, stays where it is. Then you have a triangle unit for a infantry, which makes it drift 4 boxes east. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you have a circle unit for your infantry. Makes it drift 9 boxes east. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's way off, but it's still part of the 29th division. So, as you can see, this sort of randomness that happens in these games, it makes units cluster around in a random fashion. We don't know where these units will become. These units that are coming in will land, so we don't really know what the tactic of what our strategy will be until the turn has occurred. And you're gonna see things just come up really quickly where you have these units that are in the correct position, and then you have to take advantage of these units in the right position to attack the Germans in that side of the beach. So we have to just spot and take note of where the units are and how other units can support these units that are doing an attack on the other side. We'll figure it out later as we go. So this just turn 2, but there's already a lot of things that are happening. For this special infantry unit, this is a ranger. The special ability of a ranger is that they're able to conduct turns without spending an action point, an action token. So they're essentially a different part of the team, a special part of the team, special ops. So for this ranger unit, you got a landing result of B. So they also have a special part of the amphibious landing table. If they get a landing result of B, they actually drift 1 box east. So with that, we actually complete our landing check, and then we proceed with the landing. And the units have landed. So as you can see, they're all over the place. In my other playthroughs, most of the units landed here, but in this playthrough, a lot of units landed in the center. So this is quite an interesting turn we have here. Okay, so what's next here? The units have landed. You have a new set of units that are be approaching. So the funny thing with this Vassal module is that it doesn't always work when it comes to delaying you, especially in the first turn. So as you can see, these units didn't actually arrive, but we have to make them arrive. So we're manually getting them from the turn tracker and then putting them in the appropriate place. So these lighter green units are the units of the 29th Division. So we're putting them in the appropriate place. It says here DG2, so they'll be landing in DG2, this unit. And then these tank units will also start moving up. So we got ER5, FG5, and then FG2. So you can just read the labels here where their proposed landing position is. And as the game progresses, this doesn't actually matter because number one, you have increased choice as the day goes on where to land these units. You got increased choice. Uh, and sometimes you can even delay units voluntarily if you don't want them to come too early or something. So we'll figure it out. I haven't used that to a useful extent, but we'll see when we get there. So the event phase. This is a special phase. It's beginning in turn 2, where we take a look at a special event that happens on the beach. So this is first event card. For turn 2, the smoke obscures the beach. No fire from WN82 this turn. So WN82 is a designation for the German machine gun unit. You have to look for WN82 to figure out what will not fire. So we take out the units WN82. Let me see. I see it was 62. Let me take a look at it. 62. So I stand corrected. 62. So WN62. These green units will not be firing at all in this turn. That's actually good because most of our units are here, so that's a good stroke of luck we have there. Anyway, moving forward, the German fire phase, our favorite phase of the day. So take a look at our cards here and see what starts to snap us. As you can see, well, WN62 won't even fire at all. Won't fire anyway because, as you can see here, there's no green unit that will be firing. So we start with the red. The two-tiled German unit will be the only one firing. So there will be the number of hits will correspond to the number of tiles that firing. So for this specific red nest, you only have 2 units. We have one position that has two German units or German unit with a depth marker. So this will be firing 2 times, attempting to hit somebody with a diamond symbol. So we actually have one unit that has a diamond symbol. Um, Let me just clear that working thing. So diamond symbol automatically gets hit because we have nothing else to hit. Step down, and then nothing else actually gets hit because these are circles, and they're infantry units. They're tank units, so they're armored units, pretty invulnerable to long-range machine gun fire. Uh, Proceeding forward, so as you can see, there are two. The units can attack twice. The German unit can attack twice, but it only managed to hit once. So, in some sense, it's actually a good thing that happened. So, proceeding, we have a purple unit, which is this unit over here. It will be attacking twice and will be attacking a diamond unit. There's actually 2 aspects here. As you can see, the purple unit actually overlaps um, with these 3 units. 1, 2, 3. Now, For the purposes of the effect of a concentrated unit is that the triangle symbol will convert into whatever the symbol of the fire is. So it will automatically be a target for the Germans. So assuming these triangles become a diamond, you have three possible units that can hit. So we have two attacks from this German unit and with three possible targets. So we have to figure out the hit priority of these German units. Number one is the fire dot priority. So we have both of them are both in the steady fire zone. So they're both the same. Closest to firing unit. So 1, 2, 3 hexes away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this will be the one that we fired upon. So this will step down. And note that I actually do mark these units after they've been hit, because for this first part of the game, units can only be hit once per turn. So that prevents it from being a total catastrophe. So anyway, now that we hit this once, we actually have another hit. Unit with the most steps. So the next one, since these are two both in the same distance, we actually get the unit with the most steps. So this gets hit, step down, and then we mark it that it gets hit. And sometimes I just put it on top so that I don't get confused that I didn't get to hit something. So anyway, with that done, actually this rests this one, so it uses up two attacks. Then we have a blue symbol, which actually indicates that the blue unit should be attacking. However, it requires two markers in order for this unit to attack. Therefore, this will not be undisrupted. If this had a one tile unit, like a one tile symbol that's blue, this would actually undisrupt itself, and it will be available to attack in the next turn. However, this requires two, so it does not undisrupt itself. Now proceeding to the west sector, some firing is also going to happen here, actually attacking a triangle unit. So first of all, we have a purple, the purple machine gun nests. There are actually three different units that can be attacked upon. Sorry about that. We got two possible attacks with only two possible attacks with three possible targets. However, these are actually not possible targets because number one, they are not in a triangle formation. So this is not a triangle unit, so therefore they're safe. We only have one unit really that will be damaged. So we proceed to damage this unit. Unfortunately, our ranger unit has limited strength right now. So into the green one, we actually have two units. I forgot to mark this. Two units that are possibly in range. They do not have the triangle marker. However, this unit is actually in the intense fire zone of the green unit. So automatically, it will actually incur a damage regardless of whether it's an armored unit or whether it's a unit with the correct symbol. This will actually be damaged immediately. And being at one level of capacity, that this actually gets eliminated immediately. So unfortunately, we lost a tank. So that's a sadness that's come with this game. Your efforts will just be in vain. Anyway, proceeding to our next attack, we have actually a two-tile attack from a brown position attacking triangle units. So this actually means we got two levels of attack that are available. We only have one triangle unit in this sector. It's this one. So this will get damaged once, and that will be the end of that. Actually, that will be the end of that. We have 100 triangle units in this. This is a triangle unit. Okay, so we encountered something interesting. We have a triangle unit here that's in the range of this brown that's attacking with one attack left. Why aren't we attacking this? Well, because it doesn't have the armored symbol. You can see the armored symbol here in the purple unit. If this were purple, it would totally damage this tank. However, it does not have the armor symbol. The armor symbol indicates that possibly that machine gun nest had a bazooka or something that damaged the tank. But in this case, there are no bazookas or armor-piercing attacks that would damage our armored unit. So there are a number of armored units in this game, but I'll point them out later as we go. This actually also becomes important, the armored status of a unit, because that enables, it's also one of the conditions when it comes to barraging. However, we are not involved with that sort of flimsy rule set yet. So we're still in the early phases of the game. We just have a limited set of rules to follow for turn 2. So we don't proceed to that yet, but let's proceed forward with our US action phase. So we actually concluded the German fire phase with, relatively a decent amount of damage. I don't see large amounts of units disappearing. Got a lot of damage onto our recently landed units, but we only have one unit that got eliminated, and that was a unit that was an armored tank. So that's not so bad. So proceed actually to the U.S. Engineer and HQ phase. You can see it right here. The U.S. Engineer and HQ phase is actually an abstraction of what happens, what the U.S. engineers did when they landed on the beach. Because the U.S. engineers were the important parts of securing the beach because they enabled the destruction of the landmine obstacles that were in the middle part of the beach, as well as implementing bases on the beach that would serve as a staging point in order to push forward inland. So we'll see how that plays out. But for now, our main objective is to actually get these units on the beach, and the engineer's primary role is to eliminate these landmines because these landmines will start to take an effect once the mid tide occurs. During the mid tide, if there are landmines that are not cleared from this middle part of the beach, then the units that land on them could possibly be damaged. So what we try to do for this phase is figure out what part of the beach can be cleared of landmine obstacles. So this actually largely depends on whether the machine gun nests were firing in that section of the beach or not. So we have the red the red range of fire, which means all of these red marked tiles or hexes cannot be cleared by the engineers. Then you have the blue, which actually did not fire. However, this means it's this one. This tile is all right. The red firing range overlaps quite a lot with the blue, except for this tile, except for this hex. So we take a look at this. Maybe this will be a hex that we will clear. For the purple ones, the purple range of fire extends all the way up to here. So we got two possible tiles where we're quite safe. The purple and the red and the blue. So it appears these are the only two tiles that we can clear as of now. So we've actually put a clear marker here. And let me shift it. Let me shift it around so that it becomes much clearer. There you go. So this indicates that we have cleared this part of the beach with obstacles, from obstacles. So there are currently no landmines in that beach, part of the beach. There's still quite some risk over here, but we'll figure it out later. For this other part, we have the same deal. We have purple extending all the way here, so that doesn't do anything. You have green extending all the way here, so that doesn't do anything. This which leaves us with this tile, which doesn't have purple, green, or brown. So we only managed to clear one part of the beach. Let me check it again. There you go. So we clear one part of the beach, but the others continue their thing. So this ends the US engineer phase, and then we proceed to the US action phase, where we use up our 2 action tokens once more. So how do we proceed? Well, first things first, clear all the move markers. What we want to do here is actually use up our free actions first. The free actions, there are a number of free actions that are available, and they'll be more prevalent once the U.S. command, our generals, and our HQ units come in. However, for this case, we just want our infantry units to get out of the dangerous part of the beach. So there's actually something called the self-preservation move, where infantry units have a free move action, assuming they are going closer to a protective hex side, to a hex with a protective hex side. So what is protective hex side? These are these hex sides: this brown one, this red one, this gray one, and the shingle line, as well as the tank ditches. So ironically, anything closer to our machine gun nest up to a certain point is a protective hex. Well, that's not a generalization, but that's how it works. That's how it would have worked on that beach during that time. So we had to run towards the machine gun nest in order to get clear of the machine gun nest fire. So obviously, there's only one option for this unit. The closest protective hex side is this tile. This hex. So he moves over there like that, and Vassal automatically maps in his move. So it's less. So we actually have a infantry unit here. We got two options. We can start going here or here or here or here or here. Now here's the deal. We actually can also move laterally, but that will spend an action. Okay. So for me, what I would think is I would kind of rush all these units towards this green nest, because all the units are actually in this area right now. So I think I would actually reserve since this is disrupted, I can sort of figure out how to move these tanks upward. I think these tanks can actually move up. So I'll figure out how to do that, but first of all, I'll sort of move these other units around. This unit will move up here. This unit will, I believe, will move up here. And this unit will move up there. That actually settles our self-preservation moves that are free. There are a number of tanks that I could use to attack. I think there's some value in keeping this unit here and doing a barrage, because we want to be able to disable this green unit and make all these units come up properly. So let me think about that. I think I will do a barrage using this 4-step unit. So that's a step. This 4-strength unit. So the strength unit, the barrage unit is 4 steps, four levels, or 4 points. I would only need a barrage. And I attack a unit that has a depth marker. If I had the position color, then I would be able to disrupt it. As long as I have the position color, I would be able to disrupt it. So I think, looking at the cards that have been drawn, I think I can take that risk. So this is actually a pretty alright maneuver. I would take an action in order to barrage this 2-step, this German unit with a depth marker. Now, as you can see, there's actually a lot of things that we are taking advantage here. We are in range of this unit, and we are also in the line of fire of this unit, so that's beneficial for us. This will only work for this first part of the game, but the minute we go up the beach, out of the beach, the barrage becomes a little less effective. So right now, we just take advantage of what we have, the available barrage actions that we have. So we take a draw, and then voila, we actually have a green position color. Even the symbol is not there, but that doesn't matter, because we have a 4-strength unit attacking a German machine gun nest. So this actually disrupts this unit. It doesn't actually prevent the fire of this position, because this is still available, but that would need like a single German color tile in order to for this to activate. So I think we're pretty much on the safe side. Additional action, I would move this guy over there. So that gives us some time to actually recoup here and then start attacking it. So that's a good series of moves that we have for the east sector. For the west sector, we conduct our self-preservation moves again. This one doesn't really matter, but what I noticed is for these ranger units, their main purpose is actually take the high ground in this area. One of the main objectives, especially when it comes to the final part of the game, the second phase of the game, where you start taking the roads up here, you want to try to block these reinforcement points or these reinforcement paths for the unit. So what this ranger will ultimately do is climb the cliffs, which is because this is a cliff, climb these cliffs and then try to stage some sort of um, control over this lower right part of the map. So let's just try to move him up there. Then we have these units that will be coming up. Would I be doing a barrage for this part? You know what? I think I wouldn't. I think the best thing to do, actually, since they're all so clumped up, is to just push forward. You know, everybody just rush forward and then try to get to the beach as much as possible. Because this is actually there's actually less risk in trying to have all the units rush up at the same time as compared to trying to disrupt these German nests one at a time. Because disrupting these German nests one at a time will take some sort of luck in order for us to actually land those barrage hits. So, from my perspective, I'm thinking, okay, we have an opportunity to attack these nests, especially with full strength tanks and full strength infantry units. Let's push forward in this section. So right now we have some burgeoning ideas of a tactic that may or may not work, depending on our future card draws. But right now we're taking a look at, after this turn 2, we're taking a look at attacking this green sector, as well as attacking this brown and yellow sector. So I think we can actually take some time to explain what we're actually trying to do here. Right now, we're just trying to have our units survive. That's the first part of the game that you would want to do. I mean, regardless of whatever objective is, if you don't have units, then there's nothing for you to do. So I think the idea here is what you want to do is to take positions that are out of the beach, because that's what happened during that day. The units rushed up to the beachhead, to the beach line, as in the line, the shingle line, or the line leading the beach and the actual higher ground and the higher elevation where the nests are, and then taking those positions and pushing further inland into the roads. So what we want to do is actually destroy these machine gun nest positions, or at least part of them, control some of these circular position points, including this one, this one, this one, and ultimately, by the end of the game, want to at least be able to control this path inland, which, as they would call it, the draw. You can actually see it, draw E3. So, controlling each of these hexes will actually give us the maximum amount, one of the highest amount of victory points for this mission. So there are two draws per sector that you would want to be able to control by the end of the game. This one over here, this one over there, this one over here, and this one over there. From experience, you I wasn't able to actually take these in within the first 16 turns, but by the time you reach the 20s or the 30s turn, that's when you start achieving that goal. For the first 16 turns, the main objective really is to just take as many positions as you can, destroy as many machine guns as you can, and and place units in these reinforcement positions and take control of them as much as you can. So there are a certain number of points that you can that we would need to attain in order for us to know if we are still able to proceed with the mission. So there are certain levels of success that are indicated in the manual. If we don't reach the threshold, then we actually consider it a tactical defeat or strategic defeat, whatever. So we consider it a defeat, even if we have a lot of units coming in. If we don't control as many points as we would like by a certain period of the day, then we actually still lose. Another way we can actually lose is if we suffer catastrophic losses over here. So whenever we expend more than two steps of unit for each infantry, we actually suffer catastrophic loss. And when we reach 8 for the first 16 turns, when we reach 8, it actually signifies a automatic defeat. So I think right now, so far so good. We're actually, I think, approaching. We're already about an hour in, if I'm not mistaken. Uh, yeah, we're already an hour in. So what this means actually is we'll be stopping. Probably just end the turn or click this next button. We'll be stopping here and then continuing our adventure into Omaha Beach in the next video. But I think right now we're in a pretty good spot. We already disrupted some machine gun nests over here in the middle. There are not much units over here, which means most of the fire will come from here. And if all units are here, then we'll be able to possibly control this draw faster. This one can try to start climbing up here. I wouldn't know how to attack these units. By experience, it's actually quite difficult to attack this unit and then attack this unit. It's much easier to attack somewhere in the middle for this east part of the board. These red units are quite difficult since you would need to scale these bluffs in order to do any damage to them. Same here actually. The yellow forces are best attacked from the right side. So we don't really know what's going to happen here. I doubt we'll be able to take this position in the next 5 turns even. The brown one, oh, definitely, because we should have to climb up here and then start damaging these units. I'll do a better description next time on how to attack. But right now, our objective is to survive and survive this initial onslaught of German fire, with the overall goal in mind of trying to destroy these machine gun nests, with the overall further objective of taking these draws. So, with that, I think we can stop here. It's the end of turn 2, and I'll proceed with turn 3 in the next video. And with that, thank you guys for tuning in, and see you guys next time. Bye bye.